Okay, I've got a little bit of something to share with you this morning. I'm aware that I'm being recorded, so obviously some of the things that I'm saying are a little bit more personal, so we'll have to decide together, Jim, whether or not we want to put this onto our website. But most of you know, not all of you, that well, you all know that we got 4 cats and we love them very much, and you know they are very important to us. And you know that one of our cats, Sparrow, had gone missing on Wednesday morning. We thought she was in the house. She wasn't. We thought she was sleeping upstairs on the bed, and she was accidentally locked out. We didn't know she was outside until the evening, because it's not unusual for her to sleep all day on a bed because she's a cat. And I've just been reflecting on this experience, because Sparrow is not home. She's not back. So I think somebody was trying to ask me earlier if she's back. She's not, but she has been seen. She was seen a couple of days ago, sort of Green Lane, which she'd gone across the fields towards my squartha, and so she'd been seen in Green Lane, we think. Anyway, it was a good description that sounded like her. So we were walking yesterday. We've never walked so much. We've been over there yesterday, calling, but of course that's 2 days later. So you can imagine the situation we're in. It is a trial. Let me tell you, it is a trial. We love her. We know lots of you have got pets. You've got dogs that you absolutely adore. You've got cats. Can you imagine if you don't know where they are, and they are largely a house cat, so they are, you know, lost basically. So I won't even go into all the detail of the searching and the many hours. And I just want to say a massive thank you to Jim, and also to Paul and to John Steady as well, for being amazing and helping, Ted's brother. And then we discovered yesterday that half the village is looking for our cat, which is wonderful and says a lot about Gilwern and our lovely village. So the number of people who stopped us yesterday and said, "You're Hayley and Ted and we're looking for your cat," which was just, and I'm not talking about one person, I'm talking about groups of people saying, "We know about your cat and we're looking for her," which is just amazing. And they've seen pictures of her, because we've put posters up with my number, and we've even offered a reward as well to get her back. So that's the situation we're in. So I'm going to share with you this morning, because I said to the Lord on Thursday, there is no way I can lead the service on Sunday morning. I am in pieces. I'm rubbish. I got nothing to say. I'm crying. Look at me. I'm useless. I cannot be any help to people that I'm supposed to be the pastor of in Hope Church. They need to minister to me on Sunday, not the other way around. I got nothing to say. I'm just too upset. But I have got some things to say, and I want to share with you this morning. Shelley, have you got my presentation, or do you need me to share it? Thank you. And we'll have a little look at it together, and then we'll decide after, Jim, whether we want to put this out onto the website. Righty-ho. So trials and temptations, they will come, so we might as well be prepared for them. And I'm, as you can see today, I'm all right. My pecker's up. I'm okay. But I'm pretty much in the middle of one. And what a valuable opportunity it is to press the pause button and ask, you know, what are we learning here? As a Christian, in your journey, what can you learn from the situation you are in? And I'm going to share something that make you laugh a little bit, but it's true and it's very accurate. I have gone through 6 stages. Now, this is not scientific. This is me, okay? And I'm telling you this partly for your amusement as well, okay? That I've gone through since Wednesday evening, when we found out Sparrow wasn't in the house. Stage 1 was mild panic and frantic searching, right? That was stage 1. It was just, let's not panic now. Let's just, you know, mild panic, frantic searching. Stage 2 was very much the next day, relying on your own ideas, but still inside, silently panicking more and more and more, right? There was not much of the Lord in this. It was just focusing on your own ideas. So where could she have gone? All the logic, you know, going to different places. Stage 3, out of ideas, sobbing. Stage 3, right? This was the funny stage for anybody looking from the outside. Abandoned sobbing, just crying all over the house. Where's the cat? I need the cat. I need her home. Just pitiful, absolutely pitiful. Stage 3. Stage 4 was trying to quieten myself down and listen to the Lord. And stage 4B was many, many, many hours later, realizing that I was beginning to listen to the Lord. I was beginning to calm myself, to just still my spirit and listen and get some ears that could hear. Stage 5, like this, penduluming between the two, listening to the Lord, crying, listening to the Lord, crying. That was stage 5. And then by about yesterday morning, Friday night, stage 6, which I'm pleased to say I'm still in, which is much more blessed assurance, peace and rest in God, because I've come to that place where I've given the care of it to the Lord. Now look, I'm not saying these 6 stages, I promise you, they're not scientific and they might not be you, they're just Hayley, okay, but that's what I've been through. And somebody that I trust, who's a Christian I trust, who's it's not unusual for them to say prophetic things, and I really trust their ministry, just wrote me a really simple little message saying she'll be back, which I felt that the Lord was speaking to me. And then also I woke up in the night and the Lord had given me this scripture as I woke. I can't remember what night it was, where Abraham was taking his son literally to sacrifice him, and he turned to his servant and he said, "The boy and I will be back." And he just said, "We're coming back." So he knew he was going to go and sacrifice his son, but he saw his son coming back with him. And these are little things that the Lord had spoken to me. So I'm just going to take you through the scripture the Lord gave me, and it's going to take me about 10 minutes, I think. And I'm hoping that what I'm about to say will help you when you're in a trial. And I want to show you what the Lord showed me in the last couple of days. And I'm, like I say, it may be of help. So if you take us to my core scripture, please, Shirley, which is James chapter 1 in the NIV. We seem to have a little delay on it. Okay. Can you unmute Shirley so she can tell us what's happening, Jim?
It's up on my screen, Hayley.
Okay.
Have you not got it?
No, if you unshare, Shell, and then reshare, and I'll just start reading, Shell. Oh, there it is. It's there now, Shelley. Okay. So the scripture says in James chapter 1, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds." Consider it pure joy. I can see it's gone. There it is, yeah. "Because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. Believers in humble circumstances ought to take pride in their high position, but the rich should take pride in their humiliation, since they pass away like a wild flower. For the sun rises with scorching heat and withers the plant, its blossom falls, and its beauty is destroyed. In the same way the rich will fade away, even while they go about their business. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. And I this is not a new scripture to me. I've read it many times, and it's been important in my life many times. And when I first read that first line, when I was younger, "Consider it pure joy when you face trials," I remember thinking, joy, really, joy, pardon? What in a trial? Why? And that really was my kind of, my attitude. But over the years, I've come to know that what you need during a trial is strength. You have to have strength when you're in a trial. And we know the scripture says very clearly that the joy of the Lord is our strength. So if you want to be strong in a trial, you have to guard your joy levels. Even if you can't find joy, you've got to try and muster some kind of praise, and you have to do it sometimes out of bullheadedness. You just have to praise and thank God, which is what I was doing yesterday morning, and counting it joy. And you have to really watch your joy levels, because they are your strength levels spiritually. Watch your mood. Don't get low. I know it's easy to say, but I'm saying it from the middle of a trial. Don't let yourself get low. You have to stay upbeat, and you have to stay expectant. You have to, because you will get weak if you don't, because the joy of the Lord is your strength. Now, Shelley, if you can take us forward, I just want to show you what the Lord showed me in the last couple of days. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. There's only a couple of verses that I want to focus on for a couple of minutes. And it's verse 3 there. Because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking anything. And then verse 12, there's some verses in between there, but which we just read about rich and poor, etc. But then James goes back to this idea. He's writing here, a letter, and he talks about perseverance, and then he talks about the rich, but he goes back to perseverance and re-emphasizes it. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, he says, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to him. Now, perseverance is translated as perseverance here, but in the King James Version, it's translated as patience, for example, patient endurance. Some translations translate it as endurance. And this is a fruit of the Spirit. You have patience, okay? You have it in you. You've got muscles in your body, but if you don't exercise them, they'll be weak, and you've got perseverance inside you, but if you don't exercise it, it will be weak. And what the Lord has shown me in the last couple of days is that perseverance or patience is incredibly powerful when you're in a trial. It's not pointless or going nowhere. If you take us forward, Shell. I'm moving my notes at the same time. So Strong's Concordance talks about is hoop on a, which is a remaining behind or a patient enduring. An endurance or steadfastness or patiently waiting for. Now, I want to just say something about this to you. I believe the Lord has shown me in the last couple of days. Patience and endurance is a key quality that has to be exercised during a trial, right? This is a really top tip for you. And I've read this before, okay? Patience has a work to do. It says in the verse I just read to you, let patience have its perfect work, it says in the King James. It's a workhorse, patience. It achieves something. It's not static. And I think we sometimes think of patience as like, oh, I've got to sit here and wait. It is not a sedentary, passive thing, patience. It is active. It moves the situation forward. That's what I'm trying to say. Patience moves the situation forward. When it looks like it's static, it's not. Patience is moving it forward. So it is a necessary stage during a trial. And in fact, without exercising patience, the work of God in an area that you've prayed about cannot be done. His work on your behalf can't be done if you don't exercise this very important force of patience. So it's a necessary stage, and it's not without purpose. It accomplishes something. In fact, I would go further than that. It's essential. If you run out of patience, you may well walk away and you may miss the end point of what you were waiting for. Now, I know you've all experienced this. You can be standing in a queue, a really long queue, and then you can walk away impatiently and lose your place in the queue. And then you'd have to go back to the beginning or the back. And we've all done the thing where you've held on the phone, for hours. And you think, if I put it down now, I could be the next one in the queue. We've all experienced that. And it's costing you like, £1 a minute or something, and you're on the phone. It's just a nightmare. But imagine giving up and putting the receiver down just at that moment when it was your turn. So patience is necessary, okay? And so it is with the things of God. Sometimes you have to grit your teeth and endure until the trial is over and you receive the prize or the reward. And you have to maintain faith in our Father's goodness and his faithfulness. You have to know that no matter what happens, he loves you and he will come through for you and all will be well in the end. And you have to maintain that right mental attitude and keep your joy levels as high as you possibly can. Even if you've got to sing out through gritted teeth and show some spiritual grit, you have got to be brave during that time and keep your joy levels high. Bitterness towards God and anger towards God about why has this happened, that is no use to you at all. God is not responsible for our trials, and the book of James says this, when I'm tested, nobody should say I'm tempted or tested by God. And he goes on to say every good gift and every perfect gift comes down from God. Jesus was also clear about this when about trials being just a natural part of life in the earth. Shelley, if you go forward, Jesus was clear that, trials do come. I know you all know this scripture. I've told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, he says. This world is fallen. There is trouble in the world. Trials come. But take heart, he says. I have overcome the world. And in the Amplified Bible it says, I have overcome it for you. And I have deprived it of power to harm you. God is faithful. He is loving. And he overcame the world for us. And we can rely on him and we can be of good cheer. We can maintain our joy. We can trust his wonderful, loving, fatherly nature. Remember what Jesus said? He said, if you ask your father for bread, will he give you a stone? If you ask him for fish, is he going to give you a snake? No, he's your father, he's your daddy. He loves you. Another little thing I want to say that's a personal thing as well. The night before my little cat went missing, I woke up in the middle of the night pretty much, and it was just literally, I heard ask, seek, knock. And I thought, oh, I'm leading the service on Sunday. Maybe that's what I ought to speak about, is ask and seek and knock. But of course, we assume the Lord is talking to us about situations we are in, but God is much cleverer than that. He was talking to me about a situation I was about to be in. And sometimes the Lord speaks to you in advance, because he really is cleverer than us. And he gives us a verse before, and then of course he brought it to my attention. So be aware sometimes when the Lord gives you a verse and you think, that doesn't even relate to what's happening to me. No, it might not, but it might in the future at some point. Shelley, take us forward. I just want to say a couple more things, not very much more. I got a couple of more verses, just thoughts to share. So the second part of that verse, we looked at the word perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking anything. So I want to have a little look at that word mature. If you go forward again, Shelley, it's really nice. Letting patience have its perfect work. Sorry, I've got a different cat in the room with me who's talking to me. Apologies. Letting patience have its perfect work. So it talks here about going through necessary stages to reach the end goal. Consummating the completion by fulfilling a necessary process. That's very, very interesting. This is coming to that point of maturity, not just in your whole life, but in that area that you're praying about, that particular prayer. And the root here is reaching the end. It's well illustrated with the old pirate's telescope. You pull a telescope out, and it gets longer and longer and longer until it's at its full strength, its full capacity and its full effectiveness. And that's basically what this word also means. Letting patience have a work, its perfect work, being stretched to its limit. I know the cat is making you smile. That's Tinsel. She wants a cuddle. Okay, so exercising patience is vital. It's a proper workhorse. It takes you somewhere, right? It's not passive, and it allows things to come fully extended and to their full fruition and their full effectiveness. Now, this sounds to me like a plan for somebody who's in a trial. If you go one forward, Shelley. So to be mature then in that area, having reached the end, being complete and perfect, And it usually means, in terms of Christian character, coming to a completeness of Christian character as well, which is really helpful. So patience brings you to that place of maturity. And then the next one, Shell, please. Okay, and then to be complete, and I really love this, complete in every part, sound, perfect and entire. And so this is something to aspire to bring a trial to an end, to come to that place of completeness, of soundness and being perfect and entire. Sounds pretty good to me. I want to be complete and sound in all situations, and I want to be particularly in this situation at the moment. And then finally on this bit, Shell, not lacking in anything, the verse says. And it reminded me of, Psalm 23, so familiar. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want, I shall not lack in anything, some translations say. So in other words, I've got nothing missing. I've got nothing wanting, because the usage here is to be wanting or to fall behind, be left behind, fall short. That's what, lack means here. So not lacking, not falling short, not wanting, not left behind, coming behind or wanting in any way. It reminded me this of shalom, meaning, nothing missing, nothing broke, completeness and total peace. So let patience or endurance have its perfect work, the scripture says, and you won't be lacking in anything. Well, these are wonderful verses from James. And when you first read them, you think, joy? And then when you dig around in them, you can see just what riches are hidden in there. Next one, Shell, just a couple more. So verse 12 then, blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, the person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. This is where James returns, a few verses later. And this word from the same root as patience, comes from the same root as patience, and it extends the meaning a little further in a helpful way, really, for anyone undergoing a trial. I stand my ground, it says. I show endurance. I bear up. I persevere. I endure. So I just thought that was lovely, and it was worth sharing with you as well. Okay, I'm going to finish now. If you just take me to my final slide, Shell. Just put these verses together again, because they mean more to you when you've had a little dig around in them. During lockdown, I preached a message on the power twins, faith and patience being the power twins, and I don't know if I talked about faith and patience being the power twins. It might have been something else, but I see this very much as faith and patience, as the power twins. Think of that as I read it again. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance or patience. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. So I just want to remind you that I went from mild panic, frantic searching, to reliance on my own ideas, panicking, to all out crying, sobbing, then trying to be quiet and listen to the Lord, then really listening to the Lord, then going between the two, listening, not listening, and then finally into that place of rest and giving that over to the Lord. Yesterday the Lord really showed me that I had found that rest, and he took me to Hebrews chapter 4 verse 3. We who have believed do enter into rest, and that's where I am today. And I just want to say thank you very much for those of you who are on the prayer chain, for your prayers. I know Jim and Costa are going to have a little walk around my square this afternoon. Thank you for that, Jim and Costa. That's fantastic. You may well see us over there as well. But I just want to thank you so much, and just to say that I hold the situation before the Lord. I am full of faith. I'm not sobbing. I'm doing good. So thank you, everybody. That's what I wanted to say.